So it's time for Culture now here on France 24, joined by our art critic Sean Rose is with us. He's going to take us to the Grand Palais in Paris. Blockbuster, not a blockbuster film, a blockbuster art exhibition.
Absolutely. I mean, Edward Hopper is very, very famous. He's the great American painter whose work encapsulates the spirit of America. America, as you imagine it from the 1940s and 50s movies, Hollywood movies. His pictures are so famous they're part of people's visual unconscious. He's inspired writers and directors. Nighthawks, actually, the poster of the exhibition is a classic. You have a downtown diner at night with lonesome-looking customers, and it's really typical of Hopper. You see that kind of. It's a bit jazzy as well. It's got crime movie, crime stories. It is very much like a cinema. It's very cinematographic, and Hopper actually started in a very classic way. He was very gifted for drawing. So he was sent to a school for illustrator. He trained with this man called Robert Henry, and then he did these pictures, like this seminal work. Can you guess what it is? And what it inspired? Which film it inspired?
It looks like something from Scooby-Doo, but I suspect it could be Psycho.
It is.
Is it Psycho?
It is, yes.
Right?
Hitchcock loved
Fantastic.
it. But, I mean, others loved it. I mean, even Ridley Scott, who did Blade Runner, said he'd try to convey the light of Hopper. And Hopper was very. He did go to France to study also the Impressionists.
Sure, okay. And when he stayed in Paris, he must have seen some Impressionist art, but was he actually influenced by that at all?
Yes, he was influenced by it. He was influenced by it in the sense that you'd think, it's cinema. He was an avid moviegoer, but obviously the avant-garde of his time was the Impressionists. So in 1906, he came to Paris and stayed. He was not in the Bohemian circle, but he was quite serious, and he read a lot, and a lot of French literature. And he walked around, and he made these pictures of Paris. And what was very good is he did these Impressionists. The Impressionists really, he loved their brush strokes, the way they kind of use the paint, and also the natural light, because what Impressionists did, they worked outside. They went out with their easel and just painted the pictures. So this Paris painted by the Impressionists, and also their composition. Here's Degas, and it's incredible. You see the way he composed with these characters. You don't know where to focus, and that's very modern. And Hopper loved that. The way that you can like in literature is called in medias res. That's you're in mid-action. You just don't know what's happening. This is Vallotton, and a post-impressionist, a Swiss, and it looks like a Hopper, really. Yeah. Like that lady just sewing, the maid sewing, and you're like spying, really, kind of like, and that's very much a Hopper type of composition. And he was very much impressed by French painters.
OK, well, let's go back to America. He started to paint American subjects. Nothing grand, though, because Hopper seemed more fond of very ordinary subjects, didn't he?
Yes, he loved the banal. That he loved, and he was very... he loved these little, details of everyday life and objects. And for him, I mean, you may say it's very, let's say... realistic, the way he painted things, but actually it's quite subjective and psychological. There's an anecdote which is quite telling about him, is that one day he was walking along with a fellow painter. A fellow painter drew his attention to a group of skyscrapers, said, "Oh, how great, that would make a really great picture, wonderful picture." Hopper replied, "Anything will make a good composition." That is, you can take anything. And look at this grass. It's just grass, but you have the sun, the sunlight on the grass, the hills. There's a kind of loneliness as well. It's very psychological, though you may say it's realistic because you can recognize the objects he's painting. There's something really very profound in his painting.
OK, yeah, it does look dramatic stuff, doesn't it? Another aspect of Hopper's work is his engravings.
Yes, something which are not too known. I mean, not seen. He didn't do that many etchings. Actually, the technique is called etching, but they're black and white, and so it's very dramatic. And this technique, through this technique, he played with light and shadow and learned how to crystallize his subject. freeze the moment to dramatic effect. You look at this building. And this is really great. This man, from a bird's eye view, walking down the street. It's like a crime movie scene. It's quite dramatic, and it's very, a trite subject can become very profound.
Sure. And lots of landscapes we've seen already, haven't we? But did he do portraits as well?
Well, he did portraits. He did portraits of situations, not portraits of people. You had people in his painting, but he loved to have people, like, as I say, taking people in an action, or you wonder what they're doing. Here, look, this it's like an extract from the series Mad Men. The secretary, the boss. You wonder what he's telling her. It's called Office at Night. Is she in love with him? Are they having an affair? What is he asking? She's looking at him in a strange way. This is a lady, a young woman rather, waiting. It's called Summertime, and you have this very sensuous detail of the thigh, that you can see through the fabric of the dress. Oh, yeah. And he's more, also, as I say, he's a realist, but he's also kind of symbolic. You see this called Excursion to Philosophy. And this is one of his last pictures. He was, I think, dating from 1963. He died in 1967. And it's lovely. It's just sunshine. It's just the light shining through.
That would make a good picture, but it does, doesn't it?
Yes, just an empty room.
Sure. Okay. Sean, thank you very much. So Sean's Guide to the Edward Hopper exhibition here in Paris. Is at the Grand Palais until
January,
well
I think, quite 28th.
28th of January. Excellent. So if you happen to be in Paris between now and the end of January, the Grand Palais is best there. Sean, thank you very much. Sean Rose, our art critic here on France 24. He's back at same time next week. And the latest news headlines coming up very shortly.